Now that we have everything prepped, labeled, checked into the Inventory Lab system, we are going to hit review batch and go into the box contents portion of this. Now let me say this, before you hit this review batch button down here in the bottom right, by now you should have an accurate quantity count. Once you submit this batch, you cannot edit your quantities by more than 6. This is just an Amazon rule that they implemented a while back. So if you out of nowhere find 10 more units of one of these SKUs that you want to add in after this page, it's only going to let you adjust up or down by 6. So with that in mind, make sure everything quantities are in check, everything is labeled, so we are good to go. We have 143 items going out today, so I'm going to hit review batch. This is going to give you just some final review pages, make sure everything is good, submit. This is going to sync with the back end of Seller Central, and Seller Central is actually where we are going to do the shipping labels portion. This is essentially just going to create the shipping plan through Seller Central now, so sync. What this is doing now is it is thinking about which warehouses it wants these products to get sent to. So being up here in Oregon, the bulk of our inventory usually goes down to a California location called SMF, which it did right here. As you can see, most of our products, 123 units, are going down to SMF, and then just a few units are going to be split out. Now there are some tips and tricks getting into more advanced methods of shipping where you can manipulate these numbers a little bit to get your stuff to all go down to one location. We'll talk about that next. But for this, just a basic layout and how you do your shipping, we're going to hit create on each of these plans right here. This is just going to confirm that the shipping plans are good to go on the Amazon side. And also on the left here, if you want to change up your name on any one of these, you can do that as well. So now we are all set up with our 3 locations, going to enter box contents next. So here's the box contents page. On this page are your 3 shipping plans or your warehouse destinations. I usually just start with the least to greatest for a specific reason. It's process of elimination. I'm going to start with ABE. I'm going to pick out my 7 items, box them up, get the weight on that box. I'll show you guys that process. Once those 7 units are out, I'm then going to EWR location, picking out my 13 items. Then what is left is the 123 items. I don't have to go through and find things. I just know everything that's left on the tables is going down to SMF, and then I'll show you how I do that boxing. So before I start the boxing process with your box contents, you are simply telling Amazon which items are in each box. There are several ways to do this. The way that I will do it in this particular shipment, since it's only 3 SKUs, 2 units each, 3 of the Roblox, I know that all of these are going to fit within the same box, so I can actually just highlight them all, click assign to box, and then assign. That's as simple as that one needs to be. Now once we get into one of these bigger shipments with SMF, there's going to be multiple boxes, and I'll show you guys how to do that. All right, just kidding. I underestimated how large these are. I can only fit one of these Barbie cars in there, not both. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and close out this box by itself. I'll go ahead and put a bunch of packing paper inside of here, make sure this box is good to go. I'll show you guys how to do it on the Inventory Lab side, and then I'll get a second box just for those. So once we have our box done, you want to make sure you grab that weight. So I have this sitting on top of our scale here. You always want to round up. So this says 15 pounds, 8 ounces. I'm going to round that up to 16. So on the corner here, I usually just put 16. You can write LBS or you can put the pound symbol. Now there's another piece of information that I always put on here so that when we go and do our shipping labels, when there's multiple boxes, you can know which label goes on which box. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can either use the shipment ID itself and write the last letters of the ID and then put box 1. I typically just use the location name. So this one is ABE. And then I'll put 1 with a circle. So when I go to print my shipping labels for boxes 1 and 2, I can easily see which box those are going to be assigned to. So box 1 is done. Now we have to grab a slightly smaller box and get those other ones boxed. All right, so you can see here that we can fit those 2 units in there, a little bit of packing paper, but we still have this huge gap. You can either fill the whole thing with more paper, but the issue then becomes Amazon is going to charge you UPS rates based on dimensional weight. So we want to get this box a little bit smaller. Two different methods here. One, just use a box cutter. If you have a steady hand, you can slice across each side, fold the flaps down, or you can get an actual box resizing tool, which is a little tool that connects to the edge here, and you can cut it down so it's nice and even across each side. All the supplies mentioned you can check out in the link in the description below. The trick here, you are not cutting all the way through the box. You are doing enough just to make a tiny little slice around the box edges so that the flaps are going to fold in nicely. Once you make those little slices, you are going to go up the edges all the way through. Once that is done, these flaps are going to fold all the way down. Now you have a nice tight fit and you are not wasting dimensional space. All right, so back on here to fix this. Originally I did think we would fit those all in one box. We did not. So all we are going to do is, this is showing U001, which just means that's box 1. We are going to click on new. I want one more new box. And I know that I put the Ryan's World eggs and the Roblox in the same box, and then the Barbie truck is in the other one. All I have to do is just click right here, switch this from box 1 over to box 2. Both units are in that box, and assign. Now that just took those out of box 1, put them in box 2, and we are good to go on this. Once we are done with this shipment, we are going to hit transmit. This is a newer feature Inventory Lab came out with that is very handy, because now we can actually input those dimensions ahead of time, and this should sync over to the Seller Central side. That way when we get to the shipping labels portion on Seller Central, which we'll show you in a minute, it's already done and all you do is print labels. Now if you have some boxes that are all the same, so let's say we used a large box for all of these, you can input at the very top and it will autofill all of those. We had two different size boxes. Box number 1 that we did was a 16-pound box, 24 by 18 by 18. Second one we did for the Barbies was a 10-pound box, 18 by 18 by 12. After we were able to cut it down, we are going to hit submit. Now what happened there was this plan simply got transferred over to Seller Central, so it's communicating over there and setting that up for the shipping labels. Now we just repeat the process going down the list here. We have EWR next up. So what I typically do is I'm going to eyeball what's in this actual box and make sure I can fit all of it in the same box. If not, and you know ahead of time as you are going, you can check box each individual one that is going in that box, hit assign box. Or the other option, if you have that USB scanner, you can actually click this little I button here, hit start. This is now listening for scans. So what you can do then is pick up this product, scan it into the box. Once you are done, you hit that finish button, and then it's good to go. Now for this one, just eyeballing this, I will be able to fit all of this inside of the same box. So I don't need to scan things in on this particular one, but on SMF, I'll show you guys how that works. All right, and a real quick tip. When you are pulling your items, if you have items that look alike, such as all these different transformers, the way to tell which one you are actually pulling is the FN SKU. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for the last 3, HX1, because on those item labels is where you're going to find that exact FN SKU number. I know you can't quite see it on here, but that is going to say HX1 for last 3 digits, so I know this is the exact unit. All of those in the same box, so I'm going to highlight those all, assign to box 1, transmit. This was a 6-pound box, 16, 12, 12, submit all. Amazon will pop up in this bottom right hand corner once those box contents have been accepted as well. All right, so now we are left with everything else that is out on the tables is all going down to the same location, which is SMF3. So here I'm just going to go along the tables and box things up as I can. You can either bounce back and forth from your computer and just assign these by checking them here. You can also assign them by hitting assign here, putting in exactly how many quantity into which boxes. Or you can use the scan option, which is what I'm actually going to do now. As soon as I can find my scanner. All right, got my handy dandy scanner now. I'm going to hit this little info button, hit start, and you guys can see I'm simply going to make sure that that says listening, scan that barcode, pops it right in there. Now once you're done with that, you just hit finish. You can hit this little I button, get that out of the way. So box 1 is complete. And then if we scroll down, you guys can see this was automatically assigning those for us. All I'm going to do is hit new box, hit start, and then repeat the process. All right, then when you are going to check in something that has deeper quantities, such as these Funko Pops, instead of having to scan every single one, or if you didn't know this, you can scan just the one FNSKU label just multiple times if it's the same unit. I have 22 of these. I don't want to scan it 22 times, so I'm just going to manually title search that like I did there. I'm actually adding this to a third box, so I'm going to open up one more box here. I'm going to assign all 22 units to box 3. I also put in the Cara Dune, so I'm going to title search Cara here, plug that one into box 3. That box is good to go, so now we're going to open up box 4. And I just realized I forgot to take this one off. I can't make this up. I had this cell fulfillment by merchant during the recording of this video while it was in the batch. So I need to make sure I remove this out. We're good to go there. And you know that everything has been assigned when this changes, like you just saw, from a grayed out version to the actual full button. That tells me everything has been assigned to a box. All right, so from here, I'm going to hit transmit boxes once again. These are all the same size, so 24 by 18 by 18. Put that right up top, autofills the whole thing. Only difference is the weights. Now, I will say this, Inventory Lab does not always instantly carry this data over. And being that I'm going to go straight from this page over to Seller Central, there's not much of a lag time that I'm giving it, so it may not automatically pull this. So what I'll do is I will print the other box labels first and then come to the SMF shipment. Hopefully this goes through. Now we officially have all of our boxes complete, so you can see why it is super useful to put SMF1, SMF2, SMF3, and 4. Write all that information on the box. I can't tell you how many times as a beginner I did my shipping and I did not label the boxes. So when I finally got my shipping labels, I stood here going, oh crap. Unless you put them in order, you wouldn't know which box was which. So now that I have all my weights for all my different shipment plans, now we go back to the computer. I'll show you the shipping label portion. So now you are officially done with the Inventory Lab portion of this. So now go into your Seller Central account. From here, you are going to go to Inventory, Manage FBA Shipments. And here on the left side, you can see why it's handy to input different titles for each of your batches so you can know what's going on as these get checked in. Right here is going to be those destination names. Again, I'm waiting for that SMF data to get transferred over, so I'm going to start with these two. So we're going to start with ABE, work on shipment. Everything should be defaulted to where you need it to be. This is small parcel delivery with Amazon Partner Carrier, which is UPS. Scroll down. Now, if you are familiar with doing your box contents through Seller Central right here, you would have been used to seeing 2D barcodes, probably using the web form, which can get a little bit messy. It's not efficient if you have a lot of different items because you can't see photos when you go to pull those items for box contents. We don't have to worry about any of that because we did all of this on the box contents portion on Inventory Lab. So just scroll down. All of our dimensions already carried over as far as the data goes. So all you need to do is scroll down, hit calculate. Now this is an expensive shipment. These items are actually going from here in Oregon over to ABE, which is a location over in Pennsylvania. And again, we're being charged by dimensional weight, which is why this says 26 pounds is the actual weight, but the billable is 84 pounds. It's going by dimension as well. Fortunately, I have enough room in my margins to accept that. So as far as the actual printing your shipping labels, this is just going to come down to what setup you have at home with your printer. Using a thermal printer here, that can be a Rollo, a Dymo 4XL, a Zebra, all different types. If you're using a 4x6 thermal printer, you click on that. shipment date. This is just to give an estimation of your delivery times. This is going out tonight with UPS, so I'm going to hit today, February 24th. You are actually seeing this print thermal labels button because this is a third-party extension. We actually no longer need to use them because Amazon has actually come out with this thermal option. So print box labels. From here, I'm just going to hit Command P. Make sure my settings are right. Thermal printer, 4x6. We're good to go. So from there, you guys can see these labels pop right out. Once we are done here, exit out. Scroll down, hit complete, and we are going to repeat that process now. Go to return shipping queue for the other 2 batches that we had. Let's see if those box content dimensions carried over. They sure did, 85 pounds. Now you'll see the price difference of shipping close versus somewhere far away. We're looking at 85 pounds. True billable is actually $224 because of dimensions. $45 to be able to ship an 85 pound shipment in 4 different boxes. Not too bad. We're looking just shy of about 50 cents per pound. So now you can see why in Inventory Lab we input our settings to be 60 cents per pound. So all of that is automatically estimated because of that price point. Now, if we had much heavier weights in these boxes, if we get 200 pounds that are being shipped out here, oftentimes you'll see 20, 25, maybe 30 cents per pound instead of the 50 cents. But still a great discount, except print these ones off. And then we are good to go. All right, and that concludes episode number 4 and the final episode of the Inventory Lab training series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, as I mentioned earlier on, this is only one way to utilize Inventory Lab. There's a few other ways that we can do that. We'll cover that in future videos. Moving forward, we would love to keep producing this type of content, which is more educational lessons and tutorials for you guys. So if you have any ideas or requests, drop a comment in the video below, and we will see you in the next episode.